As Zimbabweans wait for the results of the election that took place 8 days ago, we will come to Bulawayo to have a look at how the political struggle has affected life on the ground.
I think if one looks at the circumstances, definitely we are concerned, because all of a sudden we're getting these sort of fabrication of call it lies, that white farmers have been going on the land and telling the settlers to move off and all that, which has not happened. We believe that they're trying to create an incident to actually either declare a state of emergency or to try and do something to delay the results of this election.
And that would enable Mugabe to invoke this presidential decree and buy himself more time to...
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. If one looks, it's already 8 days, and yet we still haven't had the results of the presidential election. We're hearing all sorts of excuses and stuff, and when one looks at the results that came out, the parliamentary and the Senate, certainly one has to have a lot of concern.
And what's the feeling on the ground amongst the farmers about other countries getting involved? Nobody's stepping in, Britain or the States or anyone stepping in and saying, look, this is unacceptable, we need these election results?
Well, when one looks at basically the opposition or the country was told that, listen, we want free and fair elections, and we can't intervene into Zimbabwe until we have free and fair elections. We've had free and fair elections, relatively free, shall we say, on the day of polling and that. But when the results go to the opposition, which the majority of Zimbabweans believe that the opposition won, all of a sudden it's unacceptable, and there's this huge deathly silence from the SADC heads and the international world, but basically not coming out and saying, look, this is unacceptable. The Zimbabweans have voted and voted overwhelmingly, and you must accept it. But there's nothing. There's just deathly silence. And Becky, with his quiet diplomacy, as he calls it, he said, no, everything's going to be a free and fair election, has not yet even made a statement. He's saying, we'll wait for the results of the election. It's 8 days, we still don't have that result. The farmers remaining on the farm, none of them are actually being able to cover costs. They are sub-economical units. The farmers are drawing down on reserves. Those reserves are now at the stage where they're totally exhausted. A lot of farmers' wives have had to go out and work, or the farmers have had to go and get jobs in town to try and survive. And all of the people have been waiting for sanity to actually return to this country. But as things stand now, ones are extremely worried. I mean, we've got 4 months to go before the next cropping season. We need to get into the ground. There is no inputs around. Everything is in short supply, and with the hyperinflation we're in, it's impossible for any person to put anything in the ground. So we're going to go from one disastrous season, which this last one, to an even worse season this coming season. In Zimbabwe, we estimate on the farms 85 to 90% of our wildlife has been slaughtered. When one looks at the infrastructure that has been looted, when one looks at the amount of stock theft that has taken place, most people that are still on the farms, I would say probably 85 to 90% of their time is actually spent on security. The cost. You cannot operate like this. It's impossible.